Get out of horizontal. Get out of horizontal. What are you doing? What are you doing at horizontal? Siri, how dare you? LOL. You're all frauds. You're all horizontal frauds. Talking about politics all the time is tiring, huh? Okay. Baby, come back. You can take it on me. Me. Okay. Baby, come back. Wow, dude, my videos have some my videos have such low like rates. Holy crap, dude. My videos are like 20% like, 50% like 40%, 28%, 30% like. Kind of crazy. I know why, but crazy conservatives going nuts all the time, 24/7, pretty much. 24 freaking 7, they're going off, they're going crazy, they're mad about everything, brother. Hello, you're live if you're still here.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, are you?
Doing good, dude. I just want to open up the topic of conversation. Not really get into the scream match like you did with that other fucking clown. But two things. The first thing that drives me nuts is when people say that Donald Trump has a felony. I find it to be really inconsistent and really hypocritical of the left to say that Donald Trump is a convicted felon without looking at the context as to why he's a convicted felon. Would you agree with that?
I would agree on the basis that there's so many other things that Trump has done that's way worse than the felonies that I'd rather them message on those. And the felony thing just sounds like they're repeating a talking point over and over again.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but you said it. Like you're like, yeah, he is a convicted felon, you know? And so it seems to be something that's like a negative attribution to Donald Trump.
Oh, I don't
I
know
just find it.
when did I bring that up?
You were talking with a couple of with the guy that was a Marine. He said he was like a freaking he was a patriot. He wasn't left, right, or center. And he was talking about how he's like, I can't believe we elected a convicted felon. You're like, yeah, he is a convicted felon. I can't believe it.
Oh no, I mean I was just saying, yeah, it's kind of crazy what place we're in as a country. I mean, we elect like a reality TV guy that has felonies. It is kind of funny, but I don't bring it up myself ever because I don't. I think it's a terrible point to bring up. So I don't think I actually don't think I've ever brought up like the felony charges by myself.
Okay. All right. I just that's where I stand on it. I find it to be ridiculous that it's like even a talking point. So I'm glad we agree with that. Although I'm sure we agree with it from different angles. The second thing has to do with this whole argument for abortion or the case with the woman who's in Georgia who's in a coma right now. So I need to figure out, I mean, it sounds like you're very pro Constitution. You want the executive, you want everyone to follow the Constitution, right?
Um, yeah, I'd say that we need it as a foundational structure in any realm where the Constitution is like inherently against human rights. So, like for example, the Civil War. I think we would need a complete like reset societally. But like right now, we
No,
have the
no, 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 no.
mechanisms to
Yeah,
change things that we do need.
I'm talking. What's the all things held equal in a rationally
Oh
based
yeah, yeah. We need
society
to
where there's
follow.
not
Yeah, we need
exigent
laws. Yeah, yeah.
circumstances.
We need checks and balances and laws.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we respect the rulings of SCOTUS then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with the abortion thing. I just don't see the problem. Like, do we have a problem with Georgia passing a law saying that they want to ban abortion?
From a legal sense, I have an issue with the law in general, not Georgia's ability to do it. So I'd prefer there to be some type of ruling that protects the right to an abortion in some sense nationwide. But right now, I would just criticize those laws on the merits of that law. I would not bring in the Supreme Court because they already decided it's going to be state rights, and that's not going to change for pretty much my entire lifetime. So.
It's just like I find it really this whole abortion thing I find to be really, really rich. I feel like the Democrats have no one to blame but themselves. Would you agree with that?
I really don't know. It's challenging. I mean, it depends what you mean by that.
Well, am I how okay, Roe v. Wade is passed under the right to privacy found in the 14th Amendment. There were so many legal scholars on the left that said this is such a bad argument. So many. The most prominent SCOTUS on the left, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, said, we need to fucking tear this down and rebuild this. And they didn't. And then another thing too is after Roe v. Wade. I mean, look, it's in my perspective and the majority of legal scholars' perspectives is that it's not really a constitutional issue; it's a congressional issue. How many Congresses have been majority Democrat and they didn't pass a single law to try and codify abortion? Like, why did it come to this?
Yeah, I don't think the votes were ever there to codify it. I mean, just recently. I mean, America's never been a really progressive nation, so I'm not really surprised about that.
Votes were, what are you talking about? The votes were there in 2021.
They were not there in 2021. You would have
Yeah,
needed
they
the
were. We
Senate
had
as
it. There was
well.
the Senate was 50 plus Harris. That was 51.
No, no. For actual bills in the Senate, you need 60 with a filibuster. For reconciliation bills for the budget, you could do a simple majority. But for codifying Roe v. Wade, you would need the Senate too, and that's really against Democrats.
You're saying you need 60 for codifying laws in the Senate?
I'm pretty sure for Roe v. Wade, you would
I
need
don't think
60.
that's right. I don't think that's right. I think it would be 51. It could go to the POTUS.
Oh yeah,
POTUS could veto it.
regardless, the Democrats had at least like 2 or 3 people that would have been pro-life, like Manchin and Sinema. So
Uh, I mean, we could, I'm not going to fight that too hard. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think Cinema would have probably voted blue. She's been pro-choice her entire life just because she's trying to hightail it on economic perspectives for Arizona doesn't mean that she wouldn't have voted blue. I don't know. That seems like I don't know. I feel like it could have been passed. That's my opinion. I feel like there's plenty of there's ample opportunity for the left to have passed and codify it, and they didn't. But
yeah,
regardless,
it would be 60
um,
votes. It would be 60 votes because budget reconciliation is an exception. But yeah, codifying abortion rights would have definitely taken 60. I just confirmed it.
okay, can you explain this to me? Like, what is it? So you're saying with the filibuster requires 60 vote?
Yeah.
It would require 60 because of the filibuster?
Yeah, to break the filibuster, you need 60 votes. You cannot just have like a 50-50 tie, or they can filibuster it and basically just like not move it through.
Well, can't you eliminate the filibuster?
You technically can. There is a way to do it, but the argument is you don't want to eliminate it because then an opposing party will take advantage of it in the future. And Democrats have been much more tied to the Constitution than Republicans historically, at least in modern history. But,
You're
and
saying the
norms.
Democrats have been more tied to the Constitution than
Yeah, tied
Republicans?
to norms. Yeah, 100% tied to norms. So Democrats always like rolled with they always listen to the parliamentarian for legislation. Republicans just fire people if they don't give them the proper or give them like the words they want to hear. So
Are you saying
yeah,
Republicans or are you saying Trump?
Republicans now. I think
So
Trump
Trump.
completely took over the party. No, no. Well, yeah, I guess because yeah, I mean they're not different now. So
Okay, I guess I would say that. Are you saying that the Republican Party is going to maintain its current standing, if you will, once Trump is gone? If they're one and the same?
um, I think they will maintain a similar standing. I think Josh Hawley can be maybe more dangerous than Trump. It's definitely going to maintain like the populist leans.
Okay, I'm just confused here on when you mean like what provide me your argument. Give me substance to your argument that the Democrats apply the norms of the Constitution more than the Republicans do.
Because right now Republicans have openly admit that Trump violated the Constitution multiple times and have not done anything about it. So I mean, if a Democrat
Okay,
president
but
did what Trump's doing right now, they'd be impeached by now easily.
but what you were making a historical argument, and that was my entire point with trying to separate Republicans from Trump. Is it kind of it deteriorates your historical argument. You're like historically Democrats follow the Constitution more than Republicans do, and I don't think that's true at all.
Okay, well, we could just do Trump years then, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, I don't think it was 2016 to 2020 that he was really disregarding the Constitution, and I think that the constitutional disregards yeah right now is like one. I think the facilitate argument is pretty strong, but even then, I don't know. Like, what else has he done that's been like deviated away from the Constitution?
Accepting the gift from Qatar without having Congress vote on it is definitely a violation.
But it's not technically a gift, right? It's like going into it's not being categorized as a gift at the moment, is it?
Well, yeah, that's it's just another reason why Republicans are pushovers because it would. I mean, you could do a bunch of legal funsy stuff to make it like legal technically, just like the crypto coin thing. But I'd say they're impeachable offenses regardless, even if they found some
Okay,
loophole.
well, yeah, but like that, maybe you're right. Like maybe it could technically be an impeachable offense, but like there's been you don't want to do that because that sets a bad precedent. And then you look back historically and it's like, what else could technically be an impeachable offense? Like, are you just going to impeach every president because they do something that could legally possibly be interpreted as unconstitutional?
Well, that's what they do now, but it's not even unconstitutional. So, like the cryptocurrency thing, I think no one has been able to prove me wrong though, but it's by far the biggest money corruption scandal in terms of total dollars and also in terms of like what is happening transactionally from a U.S. president in American history. The amount of money he's making from cryptocurrencies, the businesses that he's able to put in different countries using the power of the presidency, it's surpassing any corruption scandal in American political history. It's actually kind of wild how much
Okay,
money Trump's making right now from the office.
let's really quick let's get back on this constitutionality thing with this gift, right? Like if the Statue of Liberty was gifted to Grover Cleveland, which was then given to America, in the same metric that the plane is being used as like Air Force One, and then like don't you like should we impeach Grover Cleveland for accepting a gift for a
That
foreign
was voted
country?
on. That was voted on by Congress.
Wasn't it a dedication ceremony?
It was voted on by Congress, regardless. It followed the rules.
Okay, so where in the Constitution does it say that the gift has to be voted on by Congress?
One second. I could find it. Emoluments clause.
And is it implicit
So
or explicit?
constitutional
Is it
text
implicit or
article.
explicit?
Constitutional text. I'm using ChatGPT for reference, so anyone who's watching knows. No person holding any office or profit or trust under the United States shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any president, emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. And then there's a domestic emoluments clause. The president shall receive for his services a compensation and shall not receive any other emolument from the U.S. or any of them. So the one that matters is the Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8. So again, no person holding any office of profit or trust under the United States shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present, basically from any foreign state without Congress's approval. So yeah.
Okay, I think there's a slight in. I think it's the argument for Article 1, Section 8, Clause 9 for like accepting like presents or like emoluments or like payments. All right, that's like prevent foreign influence and corruption. It doesn't require Congress to vote on or approve gifts from the government itself, and it doesn't restrict domestic gifts either. Like,
I mean,
does that make
multiple
sense?
Republicans have gone on and agreed it's still like accepting a gift. It's going into Trump's presidential library in 2 years, so it is, probably they can find some legal loophole probably. But I'd say that it's pretty blatantly a violation of it. But I mean, there's not really precedent for this.
Okay, going into Trump's presidential library means that it wouldn't be considered a gift to President Trump. Like, if
Yeah,
Trump
but
is
there's a lot
using
of
it
weird stuff
for,
there as well.
I guess, I don't know. It just, I feel like your position that you're taking is like you could constitutionally like you could find a loophole to say that this isn't a gift, and I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying that you could find a loophole to say it is a gift. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can find a
Like you have a harder
loophole,
argument.
but like the fact that Trump needs to break precedent, or not even break precedent, but do unprecedented things over and over and over again, and also the biggest thing for me, he was congratulating and praising the Houthis and Hamas, and that came the same week, not only when this happened, but also at the same time, Qatar just opened up for a $5 billion Trump Tower there as well. And we saw another thing with like Syria and Damascus. Another Trump property is going to be built there. And that coincided with Trump taking away Syria's sanctions. Another one is Trump's been using tariffs over Vietnam, for example, and other countries. Now Vietnam is making way for a $1.5 billion investment for Trump Tower. So Trump is using these different executive powers to leverage and probably get favors from these countries.
I mean, yeah, there's an argument to be made there that what's is the ultimate argument that Trump is using the office to try and get like financial gain in his private life,
Well, that's like
right?
for me, like there's no law against the cryptocurrency thing because it's unregulated, but I'd say it's a guarantee that's happening. I mean, that happened the first term as well, but it was just like, yeah, it's tough.
Look, I hear you and I empathize with you. I just like I don't feel that the application has been universal. Like, presidents have used the office to expand their private financial interests, like, since the dawn of time, and it's disgusting. But I don't really see how that's like, like, how is that Trump's? Like, Biden did it, Obama did it, Clinton did it.
There's
Like,
nothing any of them did that even matches up to like one event that like one day of the week for Trump is more than those presidents did corruption wise for their own personal interests and their own personal businesses. And
so your issue is scale, not substance.
it's not only scale. I have an issue when anyone does it, but my issue is Trump is by far the worst ever, and people see him as a freeing figure in American politics, an anti-corruption figure in American politics, and he's making politics more corrupt actively. Like he's changing executive laws.
Are you saying he's the worst ever with accepting gifts because he's doing it more than anyone else?
Yes, he's when it comes to leveraging American foreign policy to profit and executive power to profit. Yes, and all the donations he's getting from Apple and all these other companies that want exemptions from the tariffs. Yes, 100%. Yeah, this is the biggest leveraging of executive power, and also freedom of speech as well. But like, he's using the executive office against his political opponents in general, going after law firms. And yeah, this is the biggest. You could try to find someone else, but even like Nixon was a big deal for a reason. But we're having a Watergate like every day. Like if Trump did Watergate today, no one would give a shit at all. Like it would not even make the news if Trump did Watergate today.
Hey, but like again, like, look, do you think that Trump should be prosecuted for doing these financial deals?
At this point, no, there's no way to do that. There'd be riots from his
Let's say
cult.
you could.
Yeah, 100% he should be in jail. Yeah, he should be in jail from 2020 election. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, wait, hold on. But I'm saying for the financial reasons. Are you tethering that to the 2020 election?
No, no, I'm just saying there's many reasons why he should be in jail. But for the financial things, I don't know the law. I just know it's like really bad to do. And he should be impeached for it for sure, for
Oh,
perverting U.S. foreign policy goals to profit from it
okay, but
directly.
like
So
my argument that I'm making is if you think that Trump should be impeached for like financial gain, then you have to also logically impeach like you have to impeach Obama, you have to impeach
okay, how
Clinton,
did
you have to
Obama?
impeach Biden.
How did Obama financially gain using American foreign policy to his businesses?
The speaking engagements, hundreds of thousands of dollars per speech.
Speaking engagements
Um,
are not okay. Do you realize why that's a really terrible argument? Like one of the dumbest arguments you could possibly use.
no.
Why
Why?
do you think it is? What did Obama give a foreign country for getting paid for a speaking engagement?
How about the $65 million that him and Michelle made from the book memoirs? That was
They
purchased by
sold
foreign
books.
governments, by
They
the way.
sold okay, so
Not
they
just
sold
domestic.
books. Was he in office?
Um, was he in office? I
So
think
he
it was
sold books.
after. I think it was a post
So
presidency.
Obama sold books. Okay, he sold books. Is that similar to working
Okay.
with the Saudi royalty to build Trump Towers and to have Saudi golf tournaments in America, and then removing sanctions from Saudi's chosen states once they give him money? Like, is that?
No, I can listen. I can do this another way. There's a much simpler way to do this without us having to get into like an hour-long debate on this. Do you think that these presidents did use their office at some point for financial gain?
I don't think there's any proof of that. So it'd be hard for me to say that without any proof of any of them using it for financial gain. Because I mean, usually the American people are not okay with business interests being directly tied to, a president when they're in office. But now Trump supporters are such pushover cucks. They just don't care. So it's hard to say.
You couldn't think of like any metric that we could use to see whether or not someone got financial gain in office?
I mean, maybe a financial gain after being in office, but in terms
No,
of
no, 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 no.
profiting
I'm talking
directly from
about
what they did
during.
as president,
I'm talking about during. You couldn't think of anything, like anything we could use to go, hmm, it seems that there's a possibility that they could be prosecuted on the basis of like corruption. Like, what would be that thing, Jola? Any idea?
do you have it? I mean, I don't.
What was their salary going into office? What was their net worth going into office? And what was their net worth exiting office?
Wait. We can easily track net worth for these different politicians out of their speaking fees and book deals, but that is not tied to the actions of the presidency doing book deals and speaking engagements after you're
No,
president.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
You're using
I
another
said
terrible
I can
argument,
do.
man. Like these are
I'm
just bad
not
arguments
using
to
a
come
terrible.
from. They're boring to even go down. You're talking about like their net worth going in. That's literally a Twitter thread argument. Like I mean, I could go on Twitter and see those arguments about like, oh, AOC's worth $5 billion now. It's like, is there an example you're thinking of, like a certain person?
No, what I'm saying, right, is if you have a person that goes into office, the presidential salary is what, 400K, right? something like that. Okay, so if they're like, okay, well that makes sense. So 1.6 million dollars over 4 years. Now their current net worth is $1.1 million in 2007 or 2008, but now it's 2012 and they're worth $12 million. If we were to look at their salary, even compounded at 10%, best returns possible, like how is it that they acquired that much money in office? You don't think that that's like a really valid reasoning to think like maybe they have some financial
Who
gain while they're in
who
office?
gained from finances in office, and why did no one talk about it during it? Like Obama got under fire for wearing a tan suit. Why, if he was making millions of dollars from the presidency, did Republicans not talk about it?
Didn't Obama's net worth going into office was like $1 million, right? In 2008.
How are you doing net worth calculations based off a random celebrity website? Can you name one thing that Obama did in office in return for financial gain? Because I can name like 50 Trump has done in the past 2 weeks.
Wasn't it Business Insider? Like Business Insider reports all these like this data when presidents are elected. Is Business Insider a credible
You
enough
should be
thing?
able to
And
bring
again,
up you
you're
should be able to bring up
attacking.
one instance or like one example of like any president ever doing something like this, which there's not any precedent for it. Like Trump is making billions of dollars from the American presidency, billions, and like we can't even you're comparable situations where book deals and speaking engagements, and now you're using some type of like Twitter like brain dead argument about like net worths. I'm just trying to talk about things people actually have done that harm America, because America's really falling right now on the world stage, and China's picking up, and that's not good for our security,
That's
or the
okay.
future of our
Listen, if
nation.
if you
So
if you disagree with the fact that people's net worths explode while they're in office, and you don't think that's substantive enough to show that they're using their office for financial exploitation, and Trump is just doing it 100 times worse, and therefore he's 100 times worse, then that's your
no, you
prerogative.
need
I
to
just
bring up
disagree
like
with it.
any proof of anything happening, like any singular example of a politician doing one decision, or a president, we're focusing on presidents, doing a singular decision that boosted their like Trump is taking money directly. He's only not banning TikTok because he's getting paid. He just got paid like $300 million through his cryptocurrency like last week. That's one reason he's not buying TikTok, because Chinese
Did
billionaires are giving
it
him money.
isn't hasn't the prime example been the Hunter Biden deal, the business abroad deal with Ukraine, and how Joe Biden was helping him get that using his vice
There's
presidency?
zero evidence at all of Joe Biden being involved in that at all. I mean, Republicans investigated that forever. They could not find anything to connecting Joe Biden to it.
Wait, yeah, they did.
No, they didn't, because they would have went through with that in the actual impeachment investigations. They did not do it because they couldn't find anything. And the guy who brought up the whistleblower admit that he lied. He got convicted in federal courts.
Mm, No, I'm pretty sure that Joe Biden, they said that they had like implied evidence that he was assisting his son in his business
Implied,
dealings with
okay.
Ukraine.
They don't have any evidence of this. They tried for years and years. If you find me evidence, I'll look at it. But Republicans in Congress worked their ass off and spent millions and millions of taxpayer dollars investigating this and could not find it. They had to get Hunter Biden on charges of tax fraud and filling out an ATF gun form wrong for a reason.
No, it wasn't. It was like photographic evidence that Joe Biden was meeting with the people that Hunter Biden was doing business with, like in China and Kazakhstan, Russia, the Ukraine thing. Like the big thing in Congress was the 2013 trip to China, like Beijing. He was like
Why? But
photographed
okay,
with Hunter
if this
Biden's Chinese
happened, why
associates.
did Republicans never go forward with anything on this? If this happened, like why would
Well,
Republicans not do an impeachment trial
really
with
quick,
it?
really quick, really quick. We agree it happened though, right?
No, there's no evidence of Joe Biden being involved in
There's
any of
there's
this. We need
there's,
evidence for
there's
these things.
photographic evidence of of Joe Biden meeting with Hunter Biden's business associates in fucking Beijing, like to show like, oh, you don't think that that has a really heavy hand to play in Hunter Biden's business as the
So
son of the vice
what I would
president
say
of the United
again
States?
is, if this were real, okay, why did Republicans never present this as
Oh
evidence, and
my
why did they
God.
never impeach Biden over it? Like, answer that question, because unless if you
I
have
don't
some
know. Maybe
secret
because they're
information.
incompetent. Maybe because they're fucking
Oh,
incompetent.
okay. The same people
Like
that are able
this.
to launch full-fledged propaganda campaigns at any moment about literally anyone, and they just make up stuff all the time. They can't bring up this real photo about Joe Biden meeting with Hunter Biden's. Like, do you realize this would have like been the biggest political scandal in like American history at the time, right? Like, Republicans would have been going crazy. They would have been happy as shit if they would have found what you're. I mean, you must have the special connection. You should email Mike Johnson right now. To be honest.
Okay, but the answer, the problem is also that Joe Biden said that he denied meeting with the business associates, and then there were pictures that came out that showed he did meet with the business associates. That was the whole thing. Like, here, I'll find it. I'll find it in like a second, dude. I'm not trying to like hide the ball from you.
Again, if there's no evidence of Joe Biden being tied to it after all the investigations, I have no reason to believe there's any tie there because Republicans would have exploited it. Even Laura Loomer would have like told Trump to investigate it. They're not doing it.
Oh my God, Jola. I sent it in the chat, number one. And number two, they did exploit it. It was all over the news. It was like blasted in Congress all the fucking time. Like that the Republicans didn't prosecute or that the Republicans didn't do anything doesn't mean
Where
that it
did
didn't
you
happen,
where
number
did you
one.
send this at?
I sent it in the chat, like our private chat that we have. But the point, while you read that, the point that I'm trying to make, like I'm trying to agree with you.
Private
Like
chat.
I'm trying to
Wait.
say, like,
Let me
or I
see.
just clicked the messages. I don't
Is
know.
it the other message?
Like the
Oh, live chat.
I don't know. It's this. It's this. I don't know. It's like private chat. It's the same one that I think I messaged you to like get in here. I think. But the point that I'm making, like I agree with you. Like Trump, there's probably backdoor deals that's being done with Trump and these people, right? Where I disagree with you is like the scale thing. Like, okay, that Trump is doing it and he's making $1 trillion is no worse necessarily than any other president who does it only makes $10 million. Like, shouldn't we prosecute all these presidents on that basis if they're doing it for like corruption reasons?
If there's any proof of it, yes, but there's no proof of it.
Okay. Another thing too that you have to understand, right, is that the presidents appoint their head. I know you know this. I don't mean to sound degrading, but like the presidents appoint the head of the DOJ. So like for the head of the DOJ
Yeah,
to
yeah,
prosecute the
and
president that
okay.
appointed them would be fucking. It's just never gonna happen.
The
Like let's just wake up and smell
DOJ,
the fucking
the
president.
DOJ did investigate Biden during his presidency. He did let that happen. It
Remember
was
what they
Biden's.
said?
It was Trump's lead that Biden let investigate him. But also Pam Bondi,
Do you
she was
remember?
a registered foreign agent with Qatar, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Are
and
you trying?
like
Wait. I think I need to clear something up really quick. Like I'm not. I'm not. I don't hop on Trump's dick. Like I'm not a
you
Trumper.
are though. Like it's
I'm
just
not a
like
Trumper.
I don't know where we're gonna go as a country if every single time we talk about this issue, people just say I don't care because other people do it, and it's like the evidence of other people doing it is like some random Twitter post, and it's like there's
No,
nothing
no.
in any court
That's
or
not my
any evidence
argument.
anywhere. It's just so sad. Like
I've never made that
we're a
argument. But aren't
but we have a
but
fully pro-corruption
dude,
party in American
uh,
politics now. They're pro-corruption if it's Trump. It's just so sad America's going this direction, dude.
okay, Jola, imagine if I said this to you. Imagine if okay, we're talking about the Bitcoin thing, right? Like if I say to you, well, look, a court's never looked at that. Like why don't the Democrats bring this to court? Why did someone bring and it's so therefore because it never went to court, Trump is not a corrupt motherfucker.
There's
You'd be like, well,
investigations all
that's
the
retarded.
time right now. I mean, Trump is doing it like he has the top 200 ranked thing where he's literally saying if you pay into this crypto coin, you get a special meeting with me in the White House. He's going to give out White House tours using our taxpayer facilities. Like it's just so blatant and disgusting, dude. I don't know. Like I don't know. I
Okay.
mean,
All right.
foreign agents could just buy Trump. It just is what it is. I don't know. I mean,
All right. Another thing, if you're ready, if you're not,
and
I
like
can.
okay, the one
What's
thing
your
that really annoys me is that like if this was ever substantiated, if there was reason to believe like Hunter Biden definitely got involved in like crappy things. There's no evidence Joe Biden was involved in it, but like I'm sure there's people that connected to politicians that do bad things all the time. My only issue is like politics is a game of like what amount of bad things someone does or what amount of good things someone does. So if Trump is going to do something like let's say Biden did a bad thing and Trump is doing bad things times 2,000. That's like way it is way worse. I'd rather the politician that does less bad things. All politicians are going to do bad things every now and then. That is true, but we have to be able to have nuance. And the big issue, the big scary thing, is that Trump supporters are so brain dead and cult brainwashed, cucked to the side. Like they can't even say like this is a terrible thing that's happening right now. I would hope that any president who's doing what Trump is doing right now would be impeached. I don't care if it's God himself. Like you should not be able to do what Trump is doing and be president and shit on American democracy and like there's a reason the faith in America is collapsing in every single metric globally. It's just kind of yeah. I don't know. We can move on though.
Jola, I don't disagree with you. I agree with you. I think it's fuck. Like I don't like that Trump does like backdoor business deals. It makes logical sense that if you have some substantive evidence, I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't disagree with it either that Trump is using some form of fucking cryptocurrency to benefit himself and his family. Like, yeah, I just find it frustrating. Like, I find it frustrating, and I hate this fucking stupid argument that's like left versus right shit. Like, I like left versus right shit. The point I'm making is like it seems to get laxed by the left and the right, depending on who's in office. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Is like Biden is a corrupt motherfucker. Obama's a corrupt mother. Like these were people that did have corrupt things to their name, and I think that you can look at their net worth to decide that. By the way,
That's such.
like
It's
you
just
have
really
to.
stupid. It's just really dumb. You don't need to. You judge by what they did in office, and you judge by like, for example, Joe Biden made it illegal for his cabinet to take bribes and gifts. Trump made it legal again. Like Biden instituted ethics rules for the executive offices that were really good ethics rules that were very anti-corruption, and Trump reversed them on day one so his administration could be more corrupt. So we have examples of Biden making government less corrupt and Trump making it more corrupt. Even if you think Biden is corrupt to some extent, he still instilled more watchdogs and more ethic requirements that Trump ruined the first day he was in there. So that's a huge difference. And not even to talk about like the regulatory agencies like the CFPB that Trump just killed on day one that protects Americans from big bank fraud. That Biden helped bolster, the FTC that Biden helped bolster with like Lena Khan, like, and the National Labor Board that Biden helped bolster. Like these are all things that show Biden was like, it's just like Biden's voters demanded more from Biden, and Trump's voters just demand that he's shitty to immigrants. That's literally all they just want Trump to own the libs. That's why there's a big difference in everything here. But like those are clear, like defining differences in the presidencies, where I could say that Trump is insurmountably like he is much, much, much more corrupt than Biden. Legally, like literally making it more legal to be corrupt, man. Like,
Okay, so let me ask you this. So like Trump, you're saying that Trump is this corrupt person, and hey, kudos to you, Trump's a corrupt person. But let's say that the presidency, like let's say that all things go like well, like the quote unquote promises make, promises kept. Like, is that going to be frustrating to you? Or are you going to be like, this is a good thing for America?
if he keeps his promises, I mean, he is keeping his promises, and America is collapsing globally. Like, China is having the
No,
biggest
it's
surge
not.
in Chinese, like in modern Chinese
What
history.
what
Yes.
I was trying to make, what I was trying to say is like, let's say at the end of the 4 years that the economy is booming, like it's just absolutely off the charts. We're ultimately going to chalk this up as a win, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be fantastic if I can shit Skittles and if rainbows turned into pots of gold, and also if I saw unicorns outside flying with like confetti flying out their ass, I'd be super happy. Yeah.
Right. And so the position that you're making is like, hey, that'd be super great, but it's never going to be a
Bro,
reality
if
because
that
the truth
dog
is that in 4 years we're going to be fucking dead, you
Bro,
know?
if that dog can dunk a basketball from half court, I'd be like, hell yeah, that dog freaking dunked. But yeah, right now what Trump is doing, if he keeps on doing this, I mean, like, do you
All right.
did you see the metrics of like the like tourism collapsing like 20 to 30%, and also the like it's officially the first time in global history where China has more countries favorable towards China than America, like that kind of stuff.
I know what you're talking about the tourism thing. I don't know about the second part.
Yeah, like as like
Uh,
favorable trading partners, like China, their exports to countries other than America have increased a huge amount because America kind of self-embargoed with the tariff wars. So China's eaten right now when it comes to global influence and trade deals with like Europe and our allies that we're kind of like pushing away.
Yeah, the tourism thing, I don't really, I mean, I guess it's important. Like, I understand that it's like a somewhat of a drain from the economy, but like, there's a litany of reasons why tourism is decreasing, and it's probably just a temporary decrease. It's probably caused from the trade tension, like the tension from the trade policies. It's probably from like the fact that the US dollar is doing stronger at the moment than other currencies. And so it's like more expensive to travel to the US. The stricter immigration by Trump probably also makes it pretty like, people have a timidity to come to the United States out of an unjustified fear, in my opinion. You know, so like I think that once things start to normalize out, you'll probably see that not be the case anymore. Would you disagree with that?
If well, I mean, America is being like one of the big things. We're getting travel advisory warnings from countries that care about like LGBT people, for example, like to not come to America to like Alabama and stuff like that. So we are in the ranks of some not great countries there. I don't have the exact information there, but like through polling, like we do see, and
Well, no,
you can
but
take
but
it or
that
leave
but we
polling.
don't care about that,
But
right?
the reason for well, yeah, we do care if America is being listed as a hostile state to certain demographic groups from our allies. That's going to hurt tourism, and also like it shows like these are still democracies that we are allied with,
I
and
find
Trump saying that
I
these
find
are
that to be a non-issue.
okay. Well, if you think that our global standing doesn't matter, and it doesn't
No,
matter if
I
like
think that
countries don't
global
like
standing
us, and
matters. I think a travel advisory warning for LGBTQ people who say, "Hey, don't go to Mississippi and Alabama," isn't ultimately going to affect tourism in the United States. I think the reason that tourism down in the United States is not because of that.
okay, well, we know for a fact that it's coinciding with America not being as popular. We have polling to say like why are people not traveling, and I can Try to find it, but I don't have it up right now. There's a BBC article about why travelers are not going, and it cites let me see. I mean, okay, like Trump threatening to this just has the data for the decreases and compared to last year and everything. It's going to be like what is it, 12-15 billion dollars in American revenue and a lot for our economy. But regardless, like when Trump is saying the EU was made to destroy America, the EU is our enemy, Canada, we can't trust them, and then he's like cozying up to trade deals with like Russia and stuff. It's just going to make democratic nations want policies that move away from America. So moving to China, moving to other countries, and moving away from America, establishing new trade deals and new trade routes and all that kind of stuff. It's happening at a faster pace. It was already happening because China became a formidable like foe like pretty recently, but yeah, China's having a bigger boost than even they could have ever hoped for.
But we want that, right? Like I understand how you're like, hey, we have a proclivity against tariffs against the EU because hey, those are NATO countries and they have similar Western values. But you don't want to trade with China, do you?
If we could move trade away from China in some way, like we're helping China be more of like of an economic powerhouse right now. We're
By adding tariffs to
self-embargoing.
them?
Yeah, by adding tariffs to every country globally, blanket tariffs for every product. Yeah, we are self-embargoing. We are starting trade wars with every country globally. It's just really dumb for no reason, too. There's no justification for it other than maybe they want to raise tax revenue and tax working class people more. But like, um, we could like I have actual plans that would be able to get us away from China if we wanted to like detach our manufacturing from China. And there are issues with our energy grid, for example. China probably has kill switches in our energy grid, to be honest. Like there's a good chance they do, but we're not combating that right now. We're actually probably making that problem the problem worse. There
If
are
there's
there are policies that would
there's
work here.
if there's anything, okay, it's like this, man. We either take a moral stance as America and say, hey, we don't morally align with certain countries, and thus we're not going to do trade with them. We're not going to support them economically, or we don't, and we say no, we're a laissez-faire country, and we should do trade with all countries regardless of their moral stances. So, which side do you fall on?
I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm definitely in the middle of a lot of issues. So like, I think it's pragmatic to move some industries away from China that we rely on right now. I think we should never support a country like Russia ever with any economic policy whatsoever. Let me see. I probably, as in terms of like completely free trade, I'd probably be like 60. I'd probably be like 70%, 60 or 70% free trade, and then like 30% restrictive policies to make it better, like for the U.S. I
The
guess.
point the point I'm trying to bring up, right, is if there's countries that do things that don't align with the moral values of America, we should all hold them to that equal standard, right? Like
I don't
if
care about moral
Iran,
values that much.
so if Iran is like, hey, we can cut the clits off, or I'm sorry, I know you're on YouTube. Hey, if Iran says we can do awful things to women, um, and we're going to trade with you, but Russia, you're doing the same thing, but we're not going to trade with you. You don't care that
Oh,
doesn't factor into whether or not we should trade.
okay, that'll factor in at the extreme. So, like, if a country is a pure, like Russia, those are terrorist states, in my opinion. So it's a little bit different. In
Okay.
terms of our national security and countries that we want to bolster on the global stage, I don't want those countries to benefit from trade whatsoever. And you would have to make the case that China's a national security threat to decouple from China as well. So it's a little bit of a different basis there, away from economics. But
I mean, they house people on the basis of religion. They like imprison them on the basis of religion. There's like Christian camps and
for
Muslim
China,
camps that the
or
Chinese
where?
send people. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh no,
Oh
no,
yeah.
yeah, I know China does. So like for that, many of the biggest areas that have our like production are Vietnam, China, Cambodia, India. Like they don't have the best records with human rights. So like that's always going to be some type of an issue. But pragmatically, like Russia and Iran are countries that'll put bounties on American troops. And if we found like yeah, those are I'd move away from countries that are committing those abuses, or at least use our policy to influence those countries' standard of life. But by every metric, with those countries we trade with in Vietnam, China, and stuff, those are more free countries, and their workers get paid more as a result of free trade. So morally, it's a little bit more complicated with those countries. And America, I mean, yeah, yeah.
I'm a big laissez-faire guy. I've just like tariffs are historically, I'm talking like 19th, 20th century historically, are historically a Democrat position. Tariffs are usually done through there. And so it's just interesting to me. It's like, are the Democrats pro tariffs, which means
Well, it's a
they're
union policy. It's like a big union
laissez-faire.
thing. Well,
I just don't
anti-tariffs is
understand.
laissez-faire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, anti-tariffs is laissez-faire. That's
Well,
my thing. But I thought
Democrats
their whole thing was
and
like, hey,
they both been like ever since Jimmy Carter, every party has been very, very, very pro international trade. So
yeah, but there. Look, I don't just measure things through like the most recent of recents. Like that's like a 50-year thing, right? Like let's look over the course of like 250 years, and we can see that it's usually has a general trend to be like democratically run. It's like we want to strengthen the union. We want to strengthen the internal economy of the country. You know, it's like not quite isolationist, but it's sort of pro-isolationist when like
I
fair.
think you're
It just seems
okay. There you go.
confusing to me.
Okay, you were gone for a second. Okay, so like for tariffs, it's a policy that's very populist. I think like the way Biden used them with the Chips and Science Act is the only good application for tariffs. Because it's a very
Oh, I don't know about
restrictive
that.
tax. I think yeah, I think providing subsidies or tax credits to support the industry in America, if you do tariffs, is necessary because tariffs on their own have not proven to really work anywhere. It just increases prices all across the board. It does not increase domestic manufacturing unless if you have like drastic changes like subsidies. So you'd have to like for an actual clean move to like more domestic production, you would need subsidies or an actual like structured plan like Chips and Science. But in general, tariffs are a bad policy. But unions like some bad policies. I'm pro union because I think workers need a something to advocate for themselves. But I don't think tariffs are good for anyone involved, to be honest. Yeah.
But unions come out of capitalism. It's a capitalist concept. It came out of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations,
Yeah, but it's like the
like to
only way that
unionize.
socialists can. It's the only way that socialists can, or like the social democrats can organize in the workplace because they cannot democratically own it, right? So it's like the liberal solution to worker organization.
I'm just saying, like, I'm pro union too. It's just how you and I probably address the union thing. Like, it's a capitalist concept, is to fight back against the driving down of wages, right? It's when the government gets
I don't know if
involved in
that's
the
like.
unions is what.
I don't think it needs to be
Oh.
tied to capitalism or whatever. I think it's kind of independent from that because you could have unions in a socialist setting or a social democracy or have co-ops and there's a big. I mean, right now, do you think? I mean, you see it when it comes to capitalism. Do you think anti-capitalists are more pro-union or capitalists are more pro-union?
I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. Are you like when you say anti-capitalist? Are you saying anyone that's not a capitalist is pro-union?
There's a reason Republicans right now in America want to get rid of unions completely, and like Bernie Sanders thinks they should be like mandatory. Is what I'm saying. Like
Why do you think that is?
because it's the worker representation organizing through some type of like mini governmental organization to represent workers. It gives the workers power if they collectively organize. So I mean, collective organizing and collectivism, in a sense, is always going to be a left mechanism. But I mean, if you want to look at it in a market sense of like Adam Smith, which he's not the only person that ever spoke about this, there's other theories as well. He has not created every single rule to capitalism, but you could see it as competing forces of like the ownership class versus the union class advocating for higher wages for sure.
Let's okay. What's your problem with what Georgia is doing with this woman who's in a coma? That was like the original point that I brought up, and I've enjoyed talking to you. I'm just curious, what's your beef with this, dude?
First off, it's really dystopian, unnatural, inhumane. I just think it's really gross to keep a human body alive as an incubator. I think that leads to really bad places in terms of how we view women, and the role of women in society. And the accusation for Republicans has always been like, oh, you just think women are baby makers, and I think this kind of proves it. And having all the tubes, she has like artificial hormones being injected, the blood being pumped by a machine, the oxygen, the nutrients for the fetus that's probably not even going to survive being pumped by machines for months and months. And ultimately, it's about your property of your own body. And if you pass away, then your family having the ability to do what you request with your body, or wherever that I guess decision making process goes to. The fact that the fact that her family needs to know her body is being kept alive by random, you know, um, uh, pieces of machinery, and they have no say over it is insane to me. At that point, the state has the state has taken. Yeah, this is the big point. The state has now taken ownership of this woman's body, and not even her family can make sure that she is able to be put to rest. And I don't want the state to be able to take that ownership over someone's personal property like that.
Okay, but okay, so we agree that under Dobbs, it's been given back to the states to determine what life is. So if Georgia determines that life begins at conception at birth, regardless if you like agree with it or not, like that's what the Georgia legislature has decided what life is. And then they're saying, okay, well then the baby that is considered a human life. Then doesn't it logically follow that the state should do like it now has a as a legal, it has to faithfully execute the law,
I mean,
right?
yeah, I mean, my big contention with the Georgia laws and red state laws in general are that women are dying more, and really crazy dystopian things are happening with women's healthcare in general. And I think like, this is an extension of it. But when I make the claim, like, I use this a lot as a rhetorical point, like, hey, you are advocating for the same social policies as Saudi Arabia and these fundamentalist Muslim countries that, these Christian nationalists claim to hate. They want these barbaric laws, and this is the result, and this is why the laws are so bad. So then I'd advocate for getting Republicans out of office in any state, because I mean, even in swing states right now, in Pennsylvania, that's what Republicans want to do here. So yeah, that's why I talk about it in that context. From a legality perspective, yeah, that's a point where you could obviously challenge, that's a legal. I'm guessing the family's going to try to push through some type of legal case to do with that. I hope they do, but yeah, I mean, in terms of right now, they're probably following the interpretation of the law that Georgia wants. So
Okay, but so like that deconstructs the position that Georgia and Republicans view women as like incubators. You know,
well, the
like
woman's not
now
alive
it's like
anymore,
no,
right?
we're correct. Well,
Okay,
I
so
mean,
she's
what she's
brain
like
dead.
technically dead, right? She's in a coma.
She's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
hundred
yeah. She's
percent
technically dead.
like no, her brain is completely gone. Like it has no
Yeah,
impulse
yeah,
left.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's I was saying. Yeah, I was making a position that her heart is beating, but like under the technical construct, she's in a brain coma. Yes, I agree with you.
yeah. So like yeah, in my opinion, at that point, I actually I haven't thought about
You
that
would let
area of
the
it. If they've
baby die?
no,
You
because
just
I
let the
wouldn't
baby
consider it to
die?
be. I would say that it's the property of the woman's body still. Under Georgia law, they consider it a baby, but it's not a baby. It's a fetus that is probably going to die
Okay,
anyway.
but
But I think it's
that's
violating. But that's why I disagree with the law, though. Like I disagree with the Georgia law. Of course, I'm going to disagree with it.
you have to because you're like you took the argument from like the woman as an incubator to I personally disagree because this is property, not a baby. And it's like, right, but Georgia's
No,
considered it to
her
be a baby.
body, the control of her
Right.
body, or the family's control
The
over.
baby is are you so do you think that the baby is her property?
Is the baby her property? The fetus
Yeah.
is.
Okay, so right there. So do you think that the fetus has the same rights as a human?
No, not until a certain threshold.
Okay, but Georgia has just said no, that certain threshold, that's not your certain
Yes,
threshold.
I think
We have
the
a different
Georgia law
threshold.
is wrong and barbaric. Yes, I think there is issue. I said this multiple times. I don't like their law. Yeah,
Well, I don't think that the law, okay, we can get into that then. I don't think that the
that's
law is
why I don't like their
barbaric.
law. That's why I don't like their law, though. That's why I don't like it. You keep asking like, okay, well, if you say this, then why this? But I'm like, no, I disagree with the law in general. Yeah.
You think the law is barbaric that that they've considered that 1 week or well whenever sperm
What
meets
is the
egg,
Georgia
it's now
law? Is it
considered life?
conception? Is it 6 weeks or a conception bill? Georgia abortion law. I don't know. Is it 6 weeks or is it?
I think it's 6 weeks. I think so. Don't quote me on it. I think it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, they have it's a ban on abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which I think heartbeat bills are the dumbest thing ever, because if you're really a fundamentalist Christian, then heartbeat should not matter to you. That should be conception anyway. So it should be conception or 20 weeks. Those are the only two reasonable positions. 6 weeks is a stupid cop out position.
Okay, this whole thing, this drives me bonkers, man. This thing of like 20 weeks or nothing. Like why 20? Like why not
Because
14? Why not 12? Why not 8?
you could do 15. You could do 15. Yeah, I think 15 could be reasonable if
That's
that's what
what
you
I'm
push for
saying. Like
elective.
if it's by that's what I'm saying. If it's science, are you saying it's not scientific then?
I think we have to find a decent range within the realm of science, ethics, and what we agree upon as a society. So like a decent range within there. But in terms of like a conception bill or a 6-week bill, like those are what I deem to be like insane, fundamentalist, barbaric laws. And also for medical abortions, I'd give no limits. I'd give that jurisdiction up to the doctor and medical board completely.
But like, okay, like in Canada, there's no legal limit at all.
For elective abortions,
And
does Canada
yeah,
have a
it's like up to
limit
24 weeks or
for
something.
a limit for
It's like you.
elective abortions? Hospitals and some clinics in Canada perform abortions on request up to 20 weeks or 22 weeks. But the only abortions done over 20 weeks or 22 weeks is to protect the patient's physical health. So in terms of abortion rights in Canada, they do have the 12. It says a majority happen within the first 12 weeks, and then they stop doing it after 20 weeks for. It might have changed recently. Yeah, I can't
I
find
was about to
the direct
say.
law.
I was about to say in Canada, you can get it like up to like the 8-month mark. And I know it's anecdotal, but I know someone that did it. And that like they didn't do it in a backdoor alley. They did it in like a Canadian hospital. And they just didn't want the baby. So the position that there's like no federal law in Canada that prevents them
Yeah,
from having
well,
the
I would
abortion
say 20
at
weeks for in terms
40.
of like America. I mean, for the American political system, I need to do 20 weeks because we're not going to get any like law that would give no limits at all. So I would say no limit on
The
medical again, and go for 20 weeks for if you choose to get an abortion. But under a certain level, I'd say that I mean, if a child is a baby and coming out of the and about to be birthed into being a baby, then there'd be ethical constraints there. But I don't know enough about Canada's laws. I just know about the American laws and like the Pennsylvania, Georgia, Texas.
so
But
like
Georgia's
I
not
just
even one
don't
of the
so
worst.
like
Texas and all those other states are much worse, but Georgia is already really bad. But
I'm not trying to politically charge the argument before I say this. So just know that I'm trying to be objective about this. Are you saying that in certain cases, so long as it's ethically okay, by a society they determine it's ethically okay, that infanticide is okay?
no,
So like if a babe, if by all metrics that you want to use, it's week 36, and it's a country says it's ethically okay to abort a whatever you want to call it. I call it a baby or a human, a life at 36. Are you saying that that society is wrong for doing so?
36 weeks.
Yeah,
1 second, I'm thinking about the amount of.
I think it's 9 months.
Yeah, my brain is not working. Yeah, that is 9 months. Oh yeah, no, that would not be
Well,
good.
no, 36 weeks is 8 months. I'm saying that the baby's usually birthed around not month 9. So
Yeah, I
I'm saying
mean,
a month out, a month out prior to the birth. Like if a society just comes to a conclusion through their Congress and through the moral compass of their people that it's okay to do that, is it wrong to do so? It's like where are we drawing this line, and why is that so many countries that are modern Western countries draw the line at completely different places, and there's no like there's just no guiding doctrine for this. So where do we
because
draw
it's
the
a really
line?
okay. So I think it's good that countries have a lot of variation there. That shows that we're thinking and we have ethical concerns that we're actually going over. The issue is when Christian fundamentalists say, "I have the answer because God said so," therefore women are going to get killed because we have to deem something a child at 10 days of after conception. So like that's it's a crazy thing. So like let me see here. So in like
Doesn't make I
France,
don't follow.
in France, there's let me see. On request in France, you can have an abortion up to 16 weeks. So I don't know like what standard they use as well. So maybe you could say like
Yeah, but in Norway it's
52.
12. You see my thing? What's the 2-week difference between France and fucking Norway?
We'd have to debate that. My logic is that are there medical exemptions at all, or are there medical limitations? Because when I say like for example, there should be no medical limitations at all. So if a doctor says this woman needs this for any reason, that if a doctor says for medical reasons, they say this is necessary. There should never be government involved in there. The conversation you have with like when the amount of time is really a check on government power. How at what point in a pregnancy can the state use the military to force you to give birth to a child that a woman's pregnant with? Like that's the question. at that point. And I would just say that there's no logical reasoning, because I could say like different parts in the brain develop between 15 and 20 weeks, and we think consciousness persists around 22 weeks, and we just choose a decent range within there. But there's no arguments at all for the barbaric 6 week or the heartbeat pills. Like those are the two things I want to eliminate completely from society. Anyone who believes
Let's
in
say
those,
that
I
it's
think, is
not
a radical
medical, which is,
fundamentalist.
but let's say it's not medical because that's not making up the bulk of the issue with abortion, is it? Like the reason that the majority of abortions have happened historically and in modernity in this country isn't because there's been like a medical emergency, right? We'd say that's a rarity. Right? We agree on that,
The
right?
only abortions that happen, I mean, it's hard to find an abortion happening for elective reasons, even where you're allowed to after, after the 20 weeks. It's hard to find that. Like 99% happen in
That's
the
not
first
what
12
we're
weeks.
okay. I'm that's not the argument I'm making though. I'm saying that the elective abortions make up the bulk of abortions. Would we agree on that?
Yeah.
Like no matter when it's done, it's elective abortions are done. And so the question is still at hand here, which is that, okay, when do we decide when something's an elective versus a non-elective abortion? And the line is extremely blurry internationally. In modern, westernized, educated countries, no one has like a general consensus. And so
Yeah.
when you're like,
Okay.
what, right? So your argument is it's extremely barbaric to have a 6 week law, and I'm saying
Yeah.
why six? Why is six
Oh, okay.
barbaric
I guess say
instead of
why
12?
6. Okay, for like for the purpose of like women don't know if they're pregnant until usually after 6 weeks. Like it's very rare for you to know before 6 weeks, or even yeah, definitely at conception. But 6 weeks is not nearly enough time. 10 weeks is barely enough time to know you're pregnant and to make a decision. So coming from like a sociological level, and even physiological level for a woman, and for her psychological processes to make that decision, yeah, 6 weeks is terrible too. Yeah, for that reason, you don't even know. Like there's that girl from Ohio. She got raped, and she was 10 years old, and she was pregnant like 6 weeks and like 5 days, and she had to go like 3 states over to get an abortion. So yeah, 6 weeks is bad for that reason too.
Okay, but that's not. I don't understand. I don't understand how that's bad. You're saying it's because it doesn't give them enough time to make the elective decision. That's
I don't
why,
even know. Oh, well,
or
that's just one reason
where's the
why
moral
six
argument in
weeks.
this?
That's one reason why, for pragmatic and policy reasons, I'd say 6 weeks is really stupid. So that's one of the stupid idiot arguments where I say this is really stupid for idiots. Moral argument, you could say like, okay, they have no processes at all to interpret thoughts or pain or anything, up until around 20 weeks or after 20 weeks. So that's usually what people go off of for that argument.
Oh, that's a Twitter argument too, and you know it. What are we going to do? We're going to talk about an old person or a baby. They still don't have the cognitive processes. What if someone has like extremely detrimental abilities to think? Does that mean that's okay to kill them too?
No, if they have a complete absence of brain function at all, then they're dead.
Okay. Mm, if there's a complete absence of brain function, then they're dead.
And in like real life, yeah, if your brain stops working completely and it's never going to start again, like you're dead.
Yeah, but that's okay. If if someone if someone has the opportunity for the brain to work, then you would say that they're not dead, would you?
Um, if they're able to maintain being awake and stuff, if they're alive, if their brain's not dead, they're not dead.
No, I'm saying let's say that they don't have the cognitive ability, but they could have the cognitive ability in
So,
the future.
um, one second. So I'm just looking up arguments for the brain development. So this is probably why some countries have like 6 weeks, or not 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks. So there's no brain activity yet, but they have impulses between 12 and 16 weeks. And then at 24 weeks is when the cortex starts to function, and you can show basic brain function at that point. And then you could start seeing like actual development that you'd see in like a human. Um, let's see here. So like hypothetically, if you had a human body and it only had the parts of the brains that react like when you hit your knee and you test your reflexes, and you have no ability to have any thought or consciousness, or there's not any you there at all, I'd probably say if that person's never going to get that back, even if it's a body that reacts to things, it's not alive at that point, or
It's
at
not
least
if
it's
they're
not a
never going to get it
person.
back. What if they can get it back? And that's the entire position. Like never going to get it back doesn't attack the connection of abortion. It's will they develop it again? Like if you lose it, but you can develop it again, you wouldn't then kill that person, would you?
If you lose it, then develop it again. No,
Okay, so then why would we apply it if you never had it in the first place, but you will develop it? Why is that different?
because you were never a person before.
Yeah, you know that's a lazy argument, Jola. All right. Like
It's not.
it doesn't attack the conclusion that that person will develop a brain, that they have everything, and that permitting anything crazy happening, they will develop the cognitive functions. And it doesn't really attack the argument as to why the line is 12 weeks when we wouldn't kill a person that didn't have it, but they were
Oh.
born, and then they will get it in 12 weeks. So it doesn't follow logically. That's my point.
Oh. It doesn't follow logically. No.
Federal, that's what 38 states say that if you kill a woman, you can be charged for a double homicide. The federal law also says that if you kill a woman, you can be charged for a double homicide. So there's legal incongruencies, there's ethical incongruencies, and yet it's wrong for Georgia to say that an abortion before 6 weeks is bad. You know,
Why
or
is it?
yeah, I mean after 6 weeks is bad.
Why is their law correct?
Well, from Georgia's perspective, I believe they think that their law is correct on what, a religious basis.
But what? Why do you think is correct?
I've never really thought about abortion from my own personal perspective, but I would say something like this: like you can the issue can be attacked like completely holistically. You can make laws that say, okay, you shouldn't have an abortion unless there's a medical reason, or if the country or a state so wishes to say because of rape. Like you can have it all. That's what I don't understand is why there has to be a binary choice. It doesn't seem to ethically conflict with one another. I mean, I guess it sort of does. It's saying that like the art like just because life is created from a tragic situation doesn't mean that that life isn't more valuable than any other life. Would we agree? Or any less valuable rather?
Well, it's about the woman involved.
Yeah, but if
So her
okay,
rights
but if
supersede the
we
rights of the fetus at that point.
why?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to answer any more questions because I answered you one question. You're like, I don't really think about this that much. It's like I don't want to be internally critiqued for 5 hours and then I don't know. I make pragmatic policy decisions. With abortion, you know, just in common sense, I want to be further away from Saudi Arabia and closer to developed nations, which are usually at 16 weeks, 20 weeks. I just think that's a general good rule to follow. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
I think it's perfectly okay for states to make laws based on religious groundings, permitting
Yeah,
that
yeah, it's
they're
okay
doing
to
it
make
in a
those laws,
constitutional
but it's a
manner.
shit country. Then it's a shit country if you're a Christian nationalist country. I don't want to live in a religious country. I mean,
It
not
doesn't have to
yeah,
be a
a country led
Christian
by religion.
nationalist country.
It is
You
Christian
know,
nationalist law.
okay,
Yes, it
that's
is.
not.
That is
No,
Christian nationalist
it's
law in the
not.
same way
It's
that
not.
it's an Islamic state in Saudi Arabia. Like it's same exact thing. Christian nationalism is literally just the same exact thing. Same radicalism.
When
The KKK were also Christian nationalists in the same fervor as the
okay,
Taliban.
when did abortion become a thing? It was what, the 1920s? Margaret
Well,
Sangerism? Is that right?
Christians started caring about abortion once they were told to in the 80s or 70s because they had like
Okay,
a
so that
cultural
doesn't.
issue because Democrats got all the blacks because Democrats were pro-black and then Republicans had to be like pro or anti-abortion for another cult issue to focus on.
Okay, but like in the 18th century or in the 19th century, that's when abortion became like criminalized, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was in the 1800s it became criminalized. All right, and then there was like a liberalization in the 20th century. Like in the 1920s, the Soviet Union became the first to legalize abortion. So imagine if I did the same thing that you just did to me, where you're like, oh well, I don't want to be closely aligned with Saudi Arabia. I'm like, oh really? Well, the USSR was super pro-abortion. I don't want to be like the
Oh, I'm not
USSR, where they
pro-abortion. I'm
killed
not
50 million
pro-abortion at all.
people.
No, I'm not pro-abortion at all. I'm anti-abortion. I'm very anti-abortion.
Haven't you been making a position this entire time that you're like pro-choice?
Yeah, I'm pro-choice. I'm anti-abortion though. You're anti-choice. I'm pro-choice, but I'm also anti-abortion. because I could do both because I'm special.
All right, man. Well,
Okay, I'll be
hey, it was good
honest.
talking to you, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say I am ready for sleepy sleep. If you wanted to keep going though, we could bring DJ in here. You could debate him if you wanted to, but or debate DJ about this.
Um,
Could
I've
probably give
talked
you
to DJ before.
could
If he
probably
wants
give
to
you
come in, he
a
can.
could probably give you a more philosophical debate while I eat my midnight snack if you want to. If you want to talk to him on stream.
It's all good, Joel. I've talked to DJ before, and I'll hit you up in your Discord later. Okay, man.
What the heck? I thought I was gonna be able to listen to some content.
We've been at it for a while, brother.
How dare you? All right, have a good one, man.
Like,
I'll talk to him. I'm too tired to do this, especially this kind of thing at night. I'm like about to pass out. Let me check if I got any donations. I don't think I did. I wasn't really tonight. I will be. Oh, thank you, Sri. Sri always is so nice to me. Thank you, Sri. King Sri. Thank you for $5 on Venmo. Really appreciate it. I'll be honest. Tonight I hated. Who gave me $5? Portia. Thank you so much for $5. I hated the stream tonight. I'm not gonna lie. I've been hating this. Like tonight. I really enjoyed the last night I streamed. I hate tonight. Tonight has sucked. Like the callers have sucked. The videos to react to are discussed. Or they sucked, I mean. Bring another man to discuss women's rights. Well, I have no choice, right? They're making the decisions. That's all. What percent of Congress is white is men? Wait, what percent of Congress is men? Also, women suck too, by the way. Okay, so Congress is 72% men. Okay, what about in Georgia? What percent of Georgia State House is men? Oh, wow. So apparently our United States Congress is less diverse than Georgia's Congress, at least in gender wise. Huh. Interesting. What about Texas? Hey, if you find me a woman to call into the show, good luck. I haven't talked to a woman on here in like months. Texas State House, percent female and male. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully tomorrow's stream is better. I gotta get some sleep. That's crazy. Even Texas is 65% men. And U.S. Congress, what about U.S. Senate alone? U.S. Senate. U.S. Senate is 74% men. 74% is crazy, bro. Dude, men are under attack in America, bro. Men barely have any power. I morally can't run for Congress. Crap. Okay, so no way, bro. 71% of men in the House, or yeah, the House is 71% men. Okay, 71%. What percent? What percent of Congress Democrats are men? Let's see. 58% of Democrats are men in Congress too. Even among men, dude, or even among Democrats, the men are out here dominating. All right, guys, tonight's stream was bad. I appreciate you hanging out though. Okay, tomorrow's gonna be a lot better. Tomorrow's gonna be beautiful. A beautiful stream. A beautiful stream of piss. If a rich woman needs an abortion, she will have access. Oh God. I do think so. Like, abortion debates on the internet are very stupid. In general. Wait. Let me see here. Ooh, the Pacers won. Oh, I should have been watching that. Good luck. Yep, see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm sleepy today too. I'm tired. Tired. The hernia is putting a damper on my life. Depends on the debater. No, I just hate them. I hate all the conversations. Cause like debates don't matter in real life. I'd rather like abortion debates are very stupid. Like I'd rather debate DEI or something we can actually like talk about. Because Americans are pro-abortion in general already. The reason Democrats lose is not because of abortion. Not the beatings. It is debate brain rot. If you don't think it's bad for a woman to be kept alive by a bunch of machines, or her body when she's dead, her empty body is being artificially pumped with chemicals to foster the incubation chamber for the fetus that's probably going to die inside as her family's begging for her body to be freed from its metal cage. If you don't think that's weird, like all these Christians that talk about natural death and natural birth, it's just, oh my God, it's crazy. I know it's not for the person I'm talking to. That's one thing I have to remember too, is not responding to people that I talk to. That means the mods are going to be beaten tonight. Yes, Kyle. I need to remember, I just have to say things that are popular to the audience. I don't need to respond to the points they're making. I do think it's a decent argument to understand, like, you know, why are we taking the same policy positions as Saudi Arabia? Like, why do Republicans agree with Saudi Arabia and Russia more than they agree with Europe? And why does their rhetoric follow and their policies follow? You know? When will you realize the right's actual arguments? The right does not have arguments for abortion. Their argument is religion, and God said so, therefore I'm right. They don't have any actual arguments. That's a wild take. It's not wild at all. All over again. Yeah. They are hypocrites. All right, have a good night, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you again. Go join Discord. Go join Discord, guys. Go join Discord. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Sure, Jolah says you. I mean, that is what it is. Bro, your only argument is abortion? Yes, that's my argument. My argument for abortion is just, I say the word abortion. I'm just like you. It's like no taxes on tips. No taxes on tips is the dumbest policy you could possibly do. But you need to vote for it because of populism. Like, you need to vote for it because it's popular. Good thing Asmongold is controlling all politics. I don't have the drive, energy, or anything. I don't have the drive necessary to do what like these people do. Asmongold, like all these propaganda muppets. Like I would never be able to sit there and just like go, whoa, yeah, wow, whoa. I gotta do it though. I'll just watch clips of like Democrats talk and go, yeah, right, yeah. But that's how you like. That's how you get popular and famous and shit, I guess. It's whatever. All right, guys, have a good night. See you in Discord. See ya. Cheers. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow. Propaganda Muppets, your buzzwords don't fully... Wait, I just said propaganda Muppets. My propaganda buzzwords? How is that a buzzword? What the hell? What are you on, dude? Thank you. Yeah, you get horizontal for 1 day. All right, have a good night, guys. I want to get the leftist debates. I do want to debate leftists, actually.